Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. My name is Noah Wickham. I am sales director here at My Amazon Guy, and I am happy to be here this Friday to answer any and all of your e-commerce related questions. So without further ado, let's hop into it today. We have a ton of questions already. If you have anything on the docket you want to ask, throw it in the chat now. We will get to it as they come through. People have been asking questions, it looks like, all morning in prep for this. So love seeing that. First and foremost, I will shout out Mr. Jeffrey Vallon, who I actually was speaking with recently. Thank you for the $10 dono, sir. Thank you for all you do. Always happy to help. And then he asked, would removing a word from the main image of a supplement bottle cause a problem during an appeal? Example, label shows brain plus joint support, and I removed the word joint. Also, would adding the phrase packaging may vary to the product title help when adjusting the label on the main image? Would making these changes during an appeal phase cause an issue? No. However, I will tell you, Jeff, that there are times in which if you have a product that is currently taken down, and I know your situation, but if you have one that is taken down for any reason, Amazon may actually make it so you can't change imagery. Now, something everyone should know as well is on Amazon, when you change an image, when you change a title, anything like that, yes, that is a front page change, and you see on the back end there is a change, but Amazon actually keeps a historical of all product changes. I have seen it before where, for instance, products are taken down due to pesticide issues because of prior images that they had on their listing. So this is something that can happen. It's not 100% assured that changing the image now will help you. When it comes to packaging may vary, you actually don't even have to do that necessarily for the actual product. That's more of a helping you not have returns issue than it is a following Amazon terms of service issue. So absolutely, first and foremost, if you're having some issues, you should be fine for removing that image. If Amazon allows it, there are times where they won't allow you to make those changes. Usually a bulk file or a flat file, I should say, will help with that. And then secondarily, is there an issue with doing it? No, but again, Amazon has that historical data, and they may, go back to that and say, well, you had this, which does, essentially puts it back at square one. Again, Jeff, thank you for the $10 dono. All right. Blizzard Wolf TV. He was here very early this morning, sending out some stuff. So let's see here. Hi, advice on selling from UK using remote fulfillment to sell in European countries. I'm using their language keywords, but can you also use English keywords and vice versa for UK campaigns? So for the UK campaigns, as far as advice, let's start with the advice part, Blizzard Wolf. So advice-wise, my biggest advice anytime you're using remote fulfillment anytime is know that the sales volume you get from remote fulfillment is not going to necessarily be a 1-to-1 ratio for what you would get actually selling FBA in that country. Large in part due to people having to pay customs fees when they import products, people having to pay tariffs on some products, right? So there's a lot of things that people can potentially have to pay that will artificially raise the price of your product immensely just for them to get it. So remote fulfillment, it's not always the best for every product, especially if your product is lower priced. I see remote fulfillment work best on products that are over $100. Just because people already have to, they're paying a premium as is. So secondarily for that, your language keywords, can you also use English keywords and vice versa for UK campaigns? Absolutely. You can, you're just not going to see as much of a substantial return, right? So if you think about, let's say, France, majority of what people are going to be searching on Amazon France is likely to be in French. Is there search volume for English keywords? Absolutely. The same way that in the United States, there is search volume for Spanish keywords. Why? Because there are Spanish speakers who live in the United States. So it's the exact same thing. You can absolutely use English keywords there. It's just not going to have as much search volume or relevancy. Next, Blizzard Wolf says, I tried to change listing title for new Amazon policy, but sales dropped massively in 2 days. Keywords very similar. Does listing title change affect sales negatively? Went back to old title to keep sales. I sometimes suspect Amazon throttling, where one day sales lower impressions, but next day higher impressions, way low sales. Seems like Amazon giving competition chance to make more money off of them. Yeah, not necessarily. So the title thing, yes, you're gonna have some title density. What I would suspect there, Blizzard Wolf, is that you're not ranking or indexing well enough for those title keywords first and foremost. So start there, check to make sure you're actually indexing, ranking there, and that you don't have an issue again with those title keywords. But having title density for certain keywords, if you have more than the same keyword 3 times or more in a title already, that's not going to help you. Title density only works so much. So repeating keywords a bunch isn't helping you in that regard. There is likely a much different scenario as to what is actually happening. Did you change how your title is displayed? That can affect your click-through rate, which then obviously affects your conversion rate. Did you take out primary descriptors for your title from the first 5 keywords? Things like that will affect your sales volume. But doing something as simple as taking out the 3rd version of one keyword in your title is not going to hurt it that much. As far as Amazon, the impressions as well for like giving competitors a chance, I'm not positive on that. That usually, it sounds like to me, more of an advertising issue where somebody has dayparting set up and you just don't realize it, that they're taking over sales during certain days of the week because of their dayparting. That could entirely be the case there. And then finally, thank you for answering. Finally, how to have good IPI scores. Stocked out, Xmas, only seeing points drop now. First rule is to stay in stock, but any other factors affecting IPI score? Yeah, of course. So staying in stock, your sell-through rate, low inventory rate, high inventory rate, right? Let's see how frequently you're sending inventory in and staying within those metrics. So all of these things, as well as general sales volume, can help with your IPI score. So something I always suggest to people is make sure you understand. We have a video on our YouTube channel that I would absolutely go watch that record that goes really in depth into understanding Amazon's inventory metrics and how they consider their low inventory fees and high inventory fees, and what the algorithm, or not algorithm, but the actual equation is that they use for that. So that's something that I would absolutely look at, Blizzard Wolf. Go check out that video. It's if you look up inventory on our YouTube channel, it'll pop up. You'll be able to find it. But it's a great video that I go really in depth on that and whatnot. And it shows exactly how to calculate all of that. And my biggest advice, follow exactly that video, plus just consistently adding in stock as stock is also depleted, and stay within a good stock level. Stockouts will hurt you immensely, but staying in stock and sending in inventory frequently helps so much when it comes to IPI score. Good questions. Good questions from Blizzard Wolf. Oh, we are only 8 minutes in. I already need some water. It's not as bad as last week. My throat's not itchy, thankfully. All right, next up, we have Journeyman. Always good to see you back. I want to achieve a permanent strike-through price. My price is $49.99. Is it best to raise it to $54.99 and offer a $5 coupon to not affect conversion too much? How long should I keep the price $54.99? Okay, so permanent strike-through. Let's talk about this. Here is the issue with permanent strike-through, Journeyman. You cannot permanently do strike-through price because Amazon in this day and age is a lot smarter than that. Back in the day, could you absolutely try and do permanent strike-through for a very long period of time? Absolutely. Nowadays, Amazon has things such as your 180-day average sales, and they also have things such as your was price and your reference price. So these prices are what essentially dictate whether or not we can do a strike through. Now, Amazon will look at your 30, 60, 90, 180 day average selling price. This helps them determine a reference price. essentially, if you go too long with having some form of strike through, and Amazon notices and sees, and your reference price gets updated to a certain price, you will end up saying $49.99 is your price. I've seen it happen several times before where people will keep a discount, coupon code, strike through, anything like that for 3 months, 4 months. Then they will try and raise their price back up. Amazon won't let them because they're trying to raise it up more than 10% and they get hit with a high pricing error. So if you are going to do this, I think $49.99 to $54.99 is not necessarily a bad move, simply because that's within about a $10 or 10% threshold that you would have to raise it up anyways. Long-term strategy, the only issue is the strike through will go away at some point in time once Amazon, updates to an average selling price. To improve BSR, how low, how long, and how often would you lower the price? I like doing at least once a month lowering of price. So this is what I would consider to be called dynamic pricing, right? So we have a lot of stuff that we've talked about with dynamic pricing before, but for those that are unaware or uninitiated, dynamic pricing essentially means that you do a major discount of some kind within a 3 to 4 day window, sometimes maybe even a week window or a single day window. This purpose of doing this is to get an immediate boost in your sales volume, which then is going to help your bestseller rank or BSR overall. This is going to help you boost up in ranking, get ahead of competitors, and overall just essentially get you really fast volume. Now, it's really, really good to do this not for a long period of time. Obviously, there's always discounts that you can do, but the purpose is to make it a very enticing price. So don't do a 5% off for 3 or 4 days. This is the type of thing where you would do a 20% off for 3 or 4 days. You're not going to be making those profit margin using this strategy during those days, but it's about trying to get that high BSR for longevity and upping that overall 180-day sales volume, which helps with your overall ranking. So always going to be a big fan of dynamic pricing. It's a pretty good strategy to keep up. I have a fruit fly somewhere around here. Saw it in front of my face. Dynamic pricing is awesome. I love it. Absolutely, Jeremy, and I would go at least once per month with some form of dynamic pricing strategy, even if it's just for a day. Viper, hi Noah. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I have a product that was removed for needed a CPC, child product certification, I believe. It has been up for over 7 months and they are just asking for it now. I supplied the necessary documents. Will this affect my Amazon Choice badges? So Amazon Choice badges are determined by a few things. They are determined by your reviews, your sales volume, and I believe your return volume. So those are like the 3 major things. That things like Amazon Choice, your overall pick, those badges, that's what are like the 3 main determining factors, as well as like seller feedback and such. But to answer your question, can this affect that badge? Unfortunately, yes, if you're not having sales volume right now, because that's the biggest thing is sales volume when it comes to that badge, and other people might be taking over. As far as the 7 months go, when you're talking about when they're asking for it, it can be something as routine as the system just picked up now that you have the word kids, or you have the word children, or you have, a variety of things that Amazon is now, or they're just going through a category search and you switched categories for some reason for the product. Maybe you weren't in a child category, but a bunch of people were buying. You could check your SQP, or market basket analysis. Not SQP, market basket analysis, sorry, to see what similar products people are buying alongside your product. A lot of times I see category changes happen in this capacity where someone is purchasing very frequently some random product that doesn't have to do with your product, but it's so frequent, Amazon does category change on your product, thinking it should be in that one. So check your market basket, see if that's the case. But overall, yeah, unfortunately, sales volume is going to be playing the largest factor here. Will it affect my ranking? Is it easier to recover from this? It will affect your ranking if you're not having sales volume. Is it easier to recover? Yeah, sort of. Amazon during these situations, it's not really an official thing, but I've always viewed it as somewhat having a rubber banding effect. What I would suggest you do immediately as soon as your product's back live instant discount on the product, and then from there boost your advertising. You want to get as much sales volume in on that product as quickly as possible at the time when it is overall back live. The reason for that is you'll get, like I said, a little bit of a rubber band effect where you should shoot forward thanks to that 180 days or 180 day sales average, and that should help you a bit. Live. Yeah, we're live. Oh, let's see. Daniel, I've been making a lot of changes to my listings lately because Amazon won't let me do all at once. Are frequent changes hurting the algorithm for my listings in any way? Not that I'm aware of. It's not anything official by any means. I've seen hit or miss on people saying that they hate doing changes, but realistically, no. I mean, it depends on how often you're really making the changes and what changes you're making, right? So, are you updating your SEO once per week? Are you updating your title to be something different bullets? Yeah, that'll hurt you, but that's not an algorithm issue. That's a indexing and ranking for keyword issue. Now, if you're doing things such as updating backend search terms, that can also hurt. But if it's something as simple as you're updating, I don't know, the color code, or you're updating a random image, your A+ content, no, absolutely not. Those are type things that are meant to be updated, right? You want to update your A+ content. Now, how often should you do all of that? That depends on who you ask, but realistically, you shouldn't really have that many changes on any form of listing, but that you should do. I mean, realistically, how much can you possibly change on one listing every single day that's different than what you currently have, and how many times do you change it, right? So if you're only changing one aspect of the listing once, no issues whatsoever. If you're changing multiple aspects multiple times over the course of multiple days, yeah, that can impact it, just because it doesn't have time to update the algorithm and it doesn't have time to update your ranking. So realistically, no, Daniel, but it would, I guess, depend on the exact situation of how you're updating. Asif, hello, sir. I hope you're doing well and your family is great. Absolutely. I had a question about dayparting and PPC. How can I determine the best times or days to increase or decrease my budget? Yeah, so this comes down to specifically looking at your sales volume. So an easy way I go about it, because Amazon's not great at giving you like hourly type data and such. I always like to get an order report from Amazon, and I like to look to see when the majority of my orders are coming in. I also like to get an advertising report to see when am I having the highest day costs, when am I having the lowest day costs, when am I having the most clicks, when am I having the least clicks. These two reports will essentially give you all of the information that you need to understand both which day of the week is least impactful for you and which day of the week is the most impactful. It will also tell you, from an hourly perspective, what you should do. Always assume that, for instance, the hours between 2 and 6 are probably going to be the lowest hours of the day always. So you really should always day part those times of the day. That's probably the best way to go about it, Asif, from any sort of perspective. Are there any tools or strategies to identify when my campaigns perform best? I mean, tools, yes, I guess. There's tons of different advertising tools out there. I won't bother to get into all the different ones there are, because there's, again, hundreds of different tools that help you identify and look at your campaigns. Now, strategy is where I think I'll probably excel a little bit better than a tool, or at least I hope so. But what I always do is this. Look and see what your overall campaigns are looking like, right? So look at your overall account. What is your average A cost? What is your overall spend on the account? Understand what your goal metrics are. Now, understand what your tacos on the account is. Is your tacos increasing, decreasing? That will tell you immediately how your overall account is doing, especially from an advertising perspective, and what your ad dollars are actually doing for the account. Now, if your tacos is increasing, that means that you are not getting enough organic, or you are cannibalizing your organic with paid. If it's decreasing, that means you're likely not doing enough paid, and you can increase your overall budget. These are just, some common principles at the end of the day. Now, understanding performance best, that comes down to what the overall goal of the account is. You can look at things such as your conversion rate, your click-through rate. Are keywords relevant or not? Do you have impressions on keywords? Are you having a good bid strategy, placement strategy? All of this comes into play. So without real digging down specifics, a bit difficult. We have a good question here. How to merge two listings into one. So this is one of the only things realistically a seller is absolutely unable to accomplish on their own. And the only way to do it is actually to request it from Amazon seller support to have them do the listing merge. Now, when it comes to merging two listings and requesting it, a couple of key things to keep in mind here. What is the purpose that you're trying to merge the listing? Is it because you have two identical listings with some different data and you're just trying to get them together? Are you trying to update a UPC code in some capacity, which is usually the most common one? So if you're updating to GS1, you always have to do a listing merge of some kind. Or is it something, random where you're just trying to pull one over on Amazon and merge two non-separate listings that have, reviews that you can then get up to 1,000 or something, right? So the situation depends on how you approach it, but you always have to ask Amazon for assistance here. Depending on what your reasoning is and depending on what you're trying to do here, they can deny you. So again, if you're trying to merge two completely opposite listings that don't belong together, they won't do that. But if you're just trying to update a UPC code, you're trying to merge two listings that are near identical to each other, they'll usually help you out with that pretty easily. If we are selling on Amazon USA, our inventory is stored in Amazon's US warehouses, what steps should we take to expand our sales to Mexico and Canada? The first thing that I'm always going to suggest in these scenarios is start NARF, North American Remote Fulfillment Program. That's going to be your easiest way for Mexico and Canada to start out. Know that Canada is never going to be more than roughly, let's say, 30% of the US sales, even once you go to FBA. And know that Mexico is probably not going to be more than even 5%. Mexico is a very, very small Amazon market. Mercado Libre, it dominates Mexico compared to Amazon. So just something to note there. And then NARF is going to be your easiest way forward just to test the waters at the very least. Again, I think I answered earlier about UK to Europe and the idea of it costing more tariffs, things like that. That's always going to be the case even with NARF. It will still in Canada have some customs costs and whatnot and will hurt your overall conversion, but not by any means that it's still not worth testing. And it also helps you set up the listings at the very least, test the waters, do some advertising. Andy, would this be allowed as one of my bullets? We have a return rate of up to 25%, which means 75% keep it. Okay. 25% is 1 in 4 is a really high return rate, Andy. Let's just start there. But because some folks say our product is too expensive or too bulky, it's just 20% bigger than the average. We think it's the most comfy. Would what be allowed as a bullet? I'm not sure where the bullet is, Andy. I'm not seeing anything posted. If it's an image thing, Andy, I can't see it. Unfortunately, if it's an image, wish I could, but yeah, images don't come through on the chat. So here's what I will tell you: if you have a 1 in 4 return rate and people are saying that's too expensive or too bulky, first and foremost, make sure it is absolutely clear to people how large the product is. Secondarily, that's an exceptionally high return rate. It tells me that you are targeting the market incorrectly, and the people purchasing are purchasing it thinking it is something else. 25% or 1 in 4 is a return rate I wouldn't wish on, my enemies, right? Legitimately, that is rough to deal with, and I'm sorry you're going through that. But yeah, make sure you are taking into account every single review. I know a lot of people get really offended by negative reviews and returns and what customers have to say, being like, well, they just don't understand and they're real strong. Don't do that. Look at every single return and every single review that has something about this and take the consideration of exactly what the customer is saying into account as to how you can better explain and market your product to consumers. People are saying it's too bulky. Okay. then that means that essentially you need to make sure your size of the product is extremely clear to people. People are saying it's too expensive. I don't buy that one bit, because if that's the case, why are they buying it in the first place? Right. So best of luck to you, I suppose. Andy, if you can find some way to show me the bullet or paste the bullet again, I'd be happy to look at it, but I'm not seeing it anywhere in here. So we shall move on for now. Also, Blizzard Wolf, thank for the what is that, super sticker? I don't know how these these donations work. Thank you for the dono. How about that? Anyhow, is it sufficient to use our current inventory in the US warehouse, or are there additional requirements for listing and shipping in these marketplaces? Yeah, you can use the current inventory in your US warehouse, and you can even do international shipping as well, but NARF is going to be the easiest way forward for that. Into one, how to merge two listings into one as two variations. Oh, create a parentage. Yeah, parentages are super easy. We have 1,000,001 videos on our channel. I just posted one like 2-3 weeks ago, how to create a parentage. But for reference, here is the short of it. Don't use Amazon's variation wizard. Learn how to use a flat file. Create the parent via flat file. Add the child variations to it. Simple as that. I mean, realistically, it should take you no more than probably 30 minutes once you learn how to do it. And even then, like, learning only takes maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's super, super easy to create parentage. Rosina, happy to be here this Friday to ask questions. I am happy to be here this Friday to answer questions. And actually, I see you have quite a few there. So let me a little bit more. I have this bay juice. I don't know how to pronounce this. Whatever this is that I was given. So bottoms up, I suppose. It's good at the very least. I think it has caffeine in it, which I wasn't expecting, but either way, who cares? All right, on to more questions. Recently, you shared a product insert with a QR code. I did. That I did. Since the QR code directs users to an external landing page to collect their contact info for gift delivery, is this compliant with Amazon terms of service? Yes, it is, because they are not asking for a review at any point in there. So I made a post, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago when I bought I bought these espresso pods from a brand I had never bought from before. And I don't even know if I could find the post right now, but the point is, I was talking about the way that they did their product insert, and even I can't seem to. Oh, here we go. Let me share my screen here for you guys, so we're all looking at the same thing. Class presentation. So this is the product insert that we were talking about. Go follow me on LinkedIn if you're not already. Slight plug there, but I talk about it for a few things. They give a free gift with purchase. Number one, negative feedback response. Immediate way to return, right? So that covers all this. This is a free gift. This is the number one negative feedback that they have received. This is an easy way to return, right? So two different QR codes, one for a free product, one to return the product immediately. This is one of the best product inserts I've seen. The reasons for it, and again, they are not asking anywhere on this product insert for a review. Now, did I leave them a review after all of this? Absolutely, I did. This is amazing. I have never seen as good of a product insert as this, and you get a free product with it, right? Which they're not asking for a review for that free product. They just want to give you one, which is great. So they're not expecting anything in return, but it does entice someone to leave a review. Great example of how to do a positive product insert, essentially. Rosina, if a brand's name contains the word shoes and the listing title already has the word shoes twice, then according to the new title guidelines, would shoes be counted as twice or thrice? Twice. So brand names do not count within the new product guidelines. So you can have a brand name that is Noah's Wears or Noah's Shoes, right? Then you can have nice shoes and cool shoes in there, and that only counts as two. So No issues there whatsoever. So they're not counting brand names as being a part of the count of how many words you can have in the title. That being said, Amazon doesn't like brand names in the title, so they're probably going to be taking that out anyways. When the title is not compliant to new guidelines, Amazon is likely going to alter the title themselves, but will sellers still have the option to update the title via ads, flat file? Yeah, from my knowledge, they're not going to alter the title themselves. They're going to give you an option of what they suggest the title changes to be. You can either do that option or have the listing no longer available, for sale until you make a change. So that's what the actual new title thing is. It's not, you're going to be able to edit it to whatever you want to, but Amazon's not going to let the listing be live and active with the two, is kind of my understanding of it. Let's see. Basit Ali, I'm facing issues in variation listings, so kindly give me a brief answer. Thank you. Is this, I assume this is in regards to the parentage. Yeah, I mean, that's simple. Again, I would just do flat file. Stephen mentioned auto campaigns with very low bids, 5 cents. Is that still recommended? Should I spend the majority of my budget on broad campaigns while running the low bid auto campaign too? Yeah. So this is a strategy that I kind of coined as an auto catch-all is and whatnot. It's one of my favorite strategies. And essentially what you do is you set up auto campaigns, extremely low bids. I am always going to suggest this to people. You put every single one of your products that you have into this campaign and you let it run. The point is that you are essentially gold paying for new keywords. You are getting extremely low cost conversions that you may not have gotten otherwise. You do every match type there is. It costs hardly anything, and it's a great, easy conversion machine. So, yeah, I mean, you can absolutely do both those. And should you spend majority of your budget on broad while running low? Up in the air. It depends on if you just launched. If you just launched recently, do not do broad. You need to focus on getting ranking, which requires you to do phrase and exact more. RJ Pabs, we have a product that the worth or target price $145. Okay. Since I lowered the price like $80, Amazon won't allow me to increase the price more than $99.99. It's giving me an error, no feature offer. Any advice? I was just talking about this a couple of minutes ago, RJ. So you got hit with your average price. You cannot raise your price more than 10%, 8 to 10% above your average price at any given time. Now, that being said, what do? There's only really one solution. You have to get your average price to be raised up. So raise your price immediately only to about 8 to 10% more than what you're currently at. So you're at $80, raise it to 85, 87, 88. See if you can get your featured offer still and you're not hit with a high pricing error. From there, you got to wait a little while, usually about a week, as long as you're having good sales volume. Raise price again, another 8, 10%, as much as Amazon will let you. I have seen this get to the point where people are only able to raise their price by like 2 cents a day. And it's abysmal because they just need sales volume and it's so hard to get it when you're at that point. So absolutely, this is a hard thing to go through. I hate having to do it. All right, let's see here. We're switching our product from glass to plastic containers. New UPC code, but same product. Will Amazon let me keep the reviews if the only thing that changed are the type of containers and UPC? Type of container and UPC. Yeah, probably. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. Realistically, though, it just seems like a packaging change, which you can address packaging changes, right, in your graphics. So if people are used to packaging changes, the issue with the UPC part of this is you're not going to have the same ASIN, it sounds like. So what I would do is I would look at essentially trying to do a listing merge at some point in time and try and keep the reviews in those listing merges. What you could do is create this as a secondary variation for the time being and stop selling the other one and just let Amazon know it's nothing more than a package or container change. That'll be your best bet to try and keep those reviews either way. So whichever route you decide to go there. Any good reinstatement services? My Amazon guy, if you have an account or a listing that is suspended, come on, reach out to us. We can get pretty much any reason or any cause issue for account or listing suspension revoked, listing revoked, brand registry revoked. We can handle it. Our team handles, tens and tens of these every single week. So absolutely reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help you. Mr. Ad, I have 2 different SKUs for an ASIN. My prep center has sent the FBA shipment using ASIN 1, but they applied the label of ASIN 2. Unfortunately, Mr. Ad, you have 2 options here. Either one, if you didn't have any other inventory, you can try and get Amazon to relabel. That's not going to be a great option for you. The realistic option, which is not great, is you can either have it sent back to you, all of the inventory for that ASIN, or you can have it all disposed of. That's the only true way that you are going to know that customers are not getting the wrong product when they order the other product. Amazon can be helpful in these scenarios sometimes with the relabeling. It's going to be costly for you no matter what, but there's no great alternative here. Who is a good Amazon lawyer that you recommend? I don't have necessarily an Amazon lawyer recommendation. I don't think we have anything on our third-party services. I'll reach out internally. Send us an email, podcast@myamazonguy.com, and I'll see if we have any good recommendations. I know there's tons out there and everything and whatnot that focus on Amazon, but necessarily aren't the best. It also depends on what you're trying to get done here. So reach out to us, podcast@myamazonguy.com, and we'll get you an answer. Thanks for a great session. I don't know ads. Is there any strategy you can suggest to start with? Yeah, get this question every single week. So for those that are watching at home and watching the live or the recording of this rather than the live, here is my general thoughts and sentiments on a starting strategy, especially if you don't know advertising. First and foremost, watch our YouTube videos. Secondly, get one of our PPC courses. They're great. They will give you a starting hand. Third, from there, set up an exact campaign. Look at your product competitors, your direct competitors, figure out what keywords you want to target from there and high relevancy, kind of mid search volume keywords. You don't want to go after 50 volume. You don't want to go after 5,000 volume. You want to go after things between 250 and 1,500 to start from where you're at. That's going to be your high relevancy, decent search volume, help you out there. Secondarily, set up an auto campaign immediately. That's always going to be a big thing. I just talked about auto catch-all. Helps out great when you're first learning. Can help with gold panning and finding new keywords. Michael, does text written on images in A+ create a disadvantage in terms of SEO? We create our A+ premiums only with images because they look visually appealing. Is this non-advantageous is probably what you were going for us. Yes, it is. So fun fact that people may or may not know, all text within A+ content is crawlable. So that means that is also indexable and is also rankable. If you have text within your A+ content, you can rank for it. You can index for it. Now, on top of ranking and indexing for text within the A+ content, my other favorite thing is that A+ content can have, and I'm trying to find a listing that I can actually show this on real quick. Let me, let's hope that this one has it. Let's hope that they have some, they do, they have A+ content. Fantastic. All right. Nope, wrong thing. Here we go. A+ content. This is alt text. You can get a simple Google extension, Google Chrome extension for alt text viewer. Absolutely get this on. Alt text is also indexable for SEO. Absolutely, in your A+ content, you should have text. You should have alt text. You should be indexing and ranking. Now, if you are already someone who is, I don't know, a giga chad when it comes to SEO and your product has, 9,000 crawlable, indexable, rankable keywords, I wouldn't worry too much about it at that point. But otherwise, it's always a great area to be helping with your ranking and indexing. Let's see here. Basa again, I'm selling on Amazon USA Marketplace. Now I want to expand selling to Canada. So should I do a separate listing in Canada or should I expand the same listing to Canada? I would expand the same one. It makes your life easier and you can do changes across both of them. Amazon first showed 304 received units, but they started to subtract, and currently it's only 168. What's going to happen? I don't know. I don't have access to your inventory control. What I will tell you is that if they initially received that, if you have a screenshot, that makes your life easy. You need to ask them why it is that it's only 168. Now, have you double checked that they're not just transferring it to a new fulfillment center? Because that's a big thing. FC transfer is a huge thing. It won't show up as active inventory anymore. So that could entirely be the case here, unless they're still receiving it, in which case I would contact seller support pretty quickly. Does Amazon allow human in the Amazon listing for main images? I saw a buyer using it. Like, do they allow people in the main image? Only in select categories. So for instance, you can, I believe like apparel, you can have people in the main image, some accessories and such, but for the most part, the most you can usually have for products is like a hand if it's holding something. Outside of that, yeah, not much. And not allowed. Viper. On mobile, Amazon has started to collapse A+ content in lieu of putting more sponsored products. How can we combat this? This is a major issue. Are they doing this in place of not raising fees? So first and foremost, they have always had the feature to collapse A+ content, or even back when it's called enhanced brand content, you could still collapse it. It's not by any means a new feature. It is not them trying to add new sponsored products. So let's start there. Secondarily to this, the biggest thing to note is they doing, trying to get more advertisement in lieu of increasing fees. I'm not sure, maybe, but it's not something that I would put past them at all. But it's also not something I'm super worried about, because that comes up to the sellers, trying to advertise more, and people are paid based on clicks, not based on, spots, essentially, right? So if people are on a listing, the likelihood of them clicking off the listing is probably still about the same as it was before, regardless if more products are shown on that listing. RJ, I already saw that one. I already saw that one too. RJ, stop spamming the chat. Hi, I said 60 units of a product. Now its search volume goes down 10 times, and the PPC cost is so high. Like, I don't get enough clicks, even on a $5 cost per click, and product price is also going down now by competitors. Yeah, here's what I would suggest always. If you are not getting clicks, that is a CTR issue, a click-through rate issue. If you're not getting impressions, that is that's an issue with your overall bid. Now, the CTR one, update your main image, update your title. If you're not getting conversions, but you're getting clicks, okay, update your product detail page to make sure you're actually listing a product in the way that you should, and that matches what the customer is wanting. Pricing, unfortunately, is the number one converting factor. You can't do anything about that one except show why you are a better product and why people should choose you over other products. How to sell out of inventory. Do massive discounts at a profit margin that makes sense for you, and you should sell out of inventory very easily. Run ads, run discounts, run promotions. Usually people have a hard time figuring out what to do outside of that. Oh goodness, I lost my placement. Oh, here we go. I'm having no reference price issues. I'm probably PED. Okay. Even though my listing eligibility criteria, I have list price same as your price and past sales on that price as well. So you're having issues getting a Prime exclusive discount, even though you have no reference price issues, no anything. That's usually not the case. I hate to break it to you, but 9 times out of 10, and also I would be curious, are you in the right section? So they recently just changed so you can go to pricing. What is it? What's the new thing? There's a new place for Prime exclusive discounts. It's under, I think, pricing management, pricing health, maybe something like that. Either way, so that's one of the things. So pricing offers, make sure you're actually checking the right place for Prime exclusive discounts, where it's actually at now. Secondarily, that really check every single eligibility criteria. It's so rare that someone, is actually not meeting it. If you really are meeting everything, contact seller support, ask them why, and they'll tell you. Basic question: what is good and bad if the IPI score is very good and vice versa? Do you mean such as like what are the positives and negatives of it? Amazon does not usually give you perks for meeting what they consider to be their standards. Instead, they just deal negative punishment to anyone who doesn't meet standard, which doesn't make anything great. But IPI score is pretty easy to hit. I would just look at it, and I think I talked about this, I don't know, 20 minutes ago or so, and then what you're supposed to do around IPI. So I'm not going to dig too much into this, but there's not anything like good or bad around it. It's just don't have bad IPI score. It'll cost you a lot of money, and you won't be able to send inventory in. Good IPI score, by the way, increases the amount of inventory you can send. If you discount your products and get more sales and BSR gets lower / improves, does Amazon algorithm take this into account that you manage to get more sales via discounts? Do they not track this? No, it's sales. They care about sales most of all. Conversion, what the cost is and everything, not really something that I've ever seen as a big thing. Viper, in one of my shipments, Amazon has given 200 units to the, also thanks for $5. Amazon has given 200 units to the blue variation, causing the pink to have a negative 200 discrepancy. How can I resolve this? Thanks. Yeah, so I would do a bin check immediately, especially if you're pretty positive that you had the variations labeled correctly. Now, if you end up having them, do a bin check and they are not labeled correctly, then you can, again, always have Amazon trying to relabel them. This is a frequent issue I see where they will receive the wrong product for the wrong variation, especially simple ones and whatnot. So yeah, absolutely go through the process of having them do a bin check. Ask them to send you a picture when they do the bin check, because that will show that you exactly what the problem is. You can also, when you ask for that bin check, explain the exact situation you just explained to me of you have two different variations. You believe they received 200 units under the wrong variation. It's a color variation. Here's the differentiator. Simple as that. All right. Where was I before that? Here we go. Graham, I'm going to drink some more of this Bay or Buy or whatever. Make sure to keep my energy levels nice and high to answer all these wonderful questions. Oh, goodness. Okay. On one of our ASINs, the units say they are stranded due to the listing being deleted, okay, which never happened. Okay, you say so. The units are available, but the listing is showing as out of stock. Any fixes? Yeah, so you have to essentially reattach those units that are stranded to the listing. That usually means that Amazon is not viewing either the SKU as the same, the ASIN as the same, or the UPC has changed. So depending on how your product is laid out, that's going to be how you have to proceed from here. But you just have to reattach those listings or those current units that are stranded to that listing. If the listing is not showing any inventory or anything like that, that's a problem. Now, the secondary layer of this that's going to get a little dicey is if, let's say, you have like a deleted UPC, you have to then go through the process of having that UPC re-updated or create a new listing with that UPC and all of the identifiers on the products so that you can attach them to that new listing. Hope that kind of helps. Also, a few of our SKUs, the ASIN is the same as the FN SKU. No, it's not. On my other seller account where I've sold for 8 years, this is never the case. Any idea why? Yeah, that's not a thing. ASIN and FN SKU are two entirely different identifiers. If that's actually a thing, Graham, I haven't seen that one before. If you want to take a screenshot, send it over, podcastmyamazonguy.com. I'd love to look at that because that shouldn't be a thing. And I have a feeling if I were to take a guess, we're not, you're not actually looking at the correct area for each situation or each identifier. Or, for instance, Amazon's just taking ASIN as the identifier versus taking like FNSKU as the identifier, which can happen. Let's see, Viper. How does product indexing work? How can I index for more keywords? Product indexing happens when you have keywords on your listing. So whether it's in your title, your bullet points, your A+ content, your description, or your alt text. So any of those areas, you can then, when you get a sale for that product, you are then starting to index for that keyword, right? So sales are associated directly with indexing and ranking of SEO and keywords. Having keywords on your listing. Now, it helps a lot more if, for instance, it's keyword somebody searches, your product then can show up in the future, and that will even help even more with that ranking. So it's very much just that. That's indexing at the end of the day. Indexing is rank 500 and above. Ranking is 500 below. Hope that clears that up. Patricio, I think is how you say that. I hope so. If I am selling Mexican candies from the manufacturer account to sell in the US, can we use the UPC on the bag, or is it necessary to label the entire product with Amazon label? The candies are FDA and currently sold at Walmart. Yeah, you can use, as long as you set the listing up as using manufacturer barcode, then absolutely, it's totally fine to use the manufacturer barcode and the UPC label. If you want to sell your Amazon brand, maybe 1-2 years via exit strategy, which shows promising growth but not too much profit due to restricted ad budget, do companies still buy for growth potential if they have more funds to market? Yeah, I mean, realistically, selling any Amazon brand, here is what you need to do. You need to list it for sale, talk to, different distributors. There's ones that we can make references to. My favorite would be Quiet Light. So they're great over at Quiet Light at selling businesses and brands, especially Amazon-oriented ones. And so that's the biggest aspect. Find someone, list it for sale. People will buy Amazon businesses all the time for a variety of reasons. There's nothing that will limit necessarily the fact of, oh, you absolutely can't sell this outside of an Amazon brand that doesn't make money. So let's see. If you are getting good sales in phrase for a keyword, can you put the same keyword into exact and have both running for more exposure? I know not to negate good keywords from previous campaign. Yeah, so phrase and exact are different in how they target, right? So you're going to overlap in some capacity because technically an exact match is going to be shown from a phrase perspective. So there's not much purpose there except for the idea that exact, who have a little bit more control over showing exactly that phrase. Whereas phrase, obviously, it's a phrase. It can be inside the phrase. So you'll have overlap where your phrase campaign will show up next to your exact campaign, but your exact campaign won't show up next to your phrase campaign. Hope that kind of makes sense. Let's say you are entering a market where the best sellers are selling at $13, $14, which would be an optimal launch price given that your product is superior compared to that of competition. Where the best seller is $13, $14. So you're essentially trying to say, what should I launch at to get as much traction and sales volume as quickly as possible below whatever the best sellers are at. So if they're at $13, $14, $10, $11, right? You want to get conversions as quickly as possible. And the best way to do that is to be as cheap as possible. Now, if you can't sell for that, always do whatever you can do. 50% of your current list or what you want your target price to be is a great metric when you first launch. So that is going to be my general strategy or sentiment there. Viper, when trying to create a shipping plan of shipment over 10 boxes after submitting it automatically, gives me the option to only select skip packing and continue. When I follow those steps, it requires a pallet, but I'm not using a pallet, and it has me LTL transport. Do you know what's going on? So let's see. Are you saying it automatically does that? to only select skip packing and the whatever it is there. So what's happening more than likely is that you have certain boxes. So you have 10 boxes, let's say, and those boxes already have a pre-designed when you, I'm guessing you're doing case packs, and those case packs already have a pre-designed allotment of size, weight, things like that that Amazon knows about. Now, because of that, it's going to say, oh, skip all this and just go straight to this. And they think that LTL is the best option, the only option based on those 10 boxes, size, all of those dimensions. What I would suggest is go back through, do units only rather than any form of case pack. This helps, and you can break it down then by boxes when you're doing the packing rather than doing any form of like case pack. If we have hijackers on our listing and we don't have the buy box, would Amazon still charge us per click? No. So are you talking about for advertising? So your advertising only shows your product. You could be $1,000 more expensive than the next seller on the listing. And if someone clicks on your advertisement, it only shows your product. It does not show the hijacker product or the hijacker selling the product, I should say. So it will show you as the seller when someone clicks on your advertisement. So no, is the answer there. I kept redoing it from beginning to correct it, but I get the same thing. It sometimes gives me the option to just continue without clicking the option. Then it kicks me out and takes me back to previous page and only gives me option to skip like a cycle. The agents tell me it's because I chose LTL, but I didn't. What's going on? First off, create a brand new shipment. Screw this shipment. It's obviously bugged in some capacity. But secondly, follow the unit thing that I said and come back. Thank you for the amazing session today. Your effort and insights are always so helpful and inspiring. I truly appreciate the time and energy you put into helping us understand PPC strategies better. I'm happy to do these, guys. I'm happy, and I love hearing stuff like that. That's actually really helpful to you guys. Makes me want to continue doing these all the time and continue helping all the time. And so love seeing that kind of stuff and love helping out here. Here, I am about to launch my first product this weekend, probably. I have heard some mixed versions about the Amazon Vine program. Is it something worth to do it? Any other better option? Thanks. I'm not a fan of Vine personally. I usually don't recommend it. I think it's pricey, and realistically, it has such a chance of going negatively. And for 30 reviews, the difference between having like 2 reviews and 30 reviews is negligible, especially when you first launch. It's just negligible, all right? So I'm up in the air about it. If you have anything that has a flavor, if it's a supplement, if it's a powder, if it's anything other than like a blanket or a home decor item or anything like that, it's not worth it. It has too much of a risk to go south. So I just personally don't like it, but it's up to you. It's a decent program if you're looking to get 30 reviews or 28 reviews or anything like that, but it can't guarantee anything from it. I already missed the chance to add the review card or doing some sort of inserts. What options now other than Amazon asking customers or Helium 10? Those are your only other options, unfortunately. That and Vine, obviously. But yeah, those are your primary options. Unfortunately, no seller is able to crack it outside of the inserts, the asking for reviews, etc. Can we use the top brand name keywords in our listing? What will be the impact? Is it a violation? As in like a competitor's brand names in your listing? No, that is against term service. They will take your listing down immediately. Well, not immediately, but you'll also be hit with an IP claim. So there's that as well. Yeah, you cannot use your competitor's brand name in your listing as that is 1, an IP violation, 2, against Amazon term service. Or listing guidelines, I guess I should say. How can I find USA suppliers like Alibaba? I'm not great at finding suppliers. I mean, I am and I'm not. It really depends on what you're looking for. I have a list myself of a bunch of suppliers I've worked with, but the best way to find them, look at whatever you're trying to sell, look up and just say suppliers at the end of it, or wholesale or B2B. That's like the easiest way to do it within the US. It's a lot easier most of the time if you're looking for manufacturer than it is supplier of certain products and whatnot. White label is just so out nowadays. There's so many. If you're doing it, just usually think about the fact if you're white labeling something, somebody else is as well. And if there's somebody who is offering the ability to white label a product, that means that there is demand for people to white label that product, which means that other people are doing it as well. So keep all those things in mind. Can you also get pretty much every account deactivation back online? Yeah, I mean, account deactivations, Mac can handle. We do them all the time. It really depends on the reason, right? We do tons of them, so there are very few that I typically say are like absolutely no-goes, can't do it. But I have seen some where it's like, yeah, you just have broken the rules too many times, sir. And if it's very blatant that you just like denied and just broke the rules and Amazon finally had enough of you and suspended your account, there's sometimes we can't, but always reach out to us. We'll always do a preliminary audit and whatnot. Let's see. How do you achieve a discount price or discount price strike through the normal price on the product listing? Strike discount price. I might be dyslexic, guys. I don't know what's going on there. Through the normal price on the product listing, you have to set up a sale price on your listing backend. So just edit your listing and then go to your product information, update your price so that you have a list price, and then you also have a sale price. Hi, Noah. A brand that is not selling on Amazon, do not have a seller/vendor account, can suspend other sellers that are selling the brand products on Amazon. Yes, they can. So you can still set up a brand registry on Amazon without having a seller account, without having a vendor account or anything. And especially larger brands, that's something I do pretty often and whatnot. So yeah, you can still have that happen. A con. How do I gain PPC access for a brand via Vendor Central? Does it differ from Seller Central permissions? Yes, it does. So it's technically you need to go under Advertising Central. So you need to have access to Vendor Central. And then from Vendor Central, you can access Advertising Console. And that will be a different advertising console than the Seller Central advertising console. It's a whole thing where Amazon has a bunch of little pieces that all kind of connect together and they're all different from each other. So advertising is actually its own separate entity outside of Vendor Central and Seller Central. So hopefully that explains that, Con. Any advice when competitors are selling items below FBA pricing? Okay, I don't know what that means. You mean like below the price of your FBA product, I guess? Below FBA pricing, when they themselves are using FBA based in China usually. So you're asking essentially they're selling it below whatever the cost of selling the product on FBA is. Well, first and foremost, I would ask, how do you know what the cost is, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into FBA cost. But if you're saying from just a fulfillment fee, referral fee perspective, the easy answer is they're eating it because average order value is probably up. They probably have, variations or virtual bundles that are helping them keep that. It's usually a loss leader of some kind. They have, money on the back end being funneled into them. All sorts of reasons, right? Like there's nobody who can actually tell you why someone is going to be selling a product below their cost than the person selling the product, unfortunately. Is it a strategy? Not one that I know of. I mean, outside of like supplements, I used to do that all the time with supplement clients where they would launch, be below cost, and just pump money into advertising, rise to the top. Can we use a competitor brand name in the keyword search term in my listing? No. I mean, technically, yes, you can, but you should not, because exactly what I kind of talked about on the previous question there. Can you explain default Prime settings for sellers? What's there to explain? Like, such as what are default Prime settings? You put your Amazon product into FBA. Amazon will then ship it within 2 days to customer side. Can you explain a little bit more, Carl? If you give me a little bit more from here. I mean, default prime saying is pretty broad as far as what you're asking. We are encountering a serious issue with resellers on our listings. Despite having registered trademark and brand registry, when we report counterfeit products through brand registry, Amazon occasionally removes them, but later reinstates them after the sellers provide invoices from distributors. Additionally, these resellers threaten us with lawsuits. Need help. Okay, so first and foremost, you need to prove that the product is not actually your product. The only way you can do that is by purchasing the product from them and then having them send it to you. And then you have to show Amazon with pictures that is not a correct product and is in fact a counterfeit product. That is step one of a million. Now, the real answer here, if they're threatening you with lawsuits and you are dealing with that kind of stuff and whatnot, just enroll in transparency. Save yourself the headache. It will make your life so much easier. Transparency codes will be owned by the brand owner. They can distribute them as they see fit. Now, the thing that's iffy here, are these people who are reselling the product actually selling a real product? If they are, transparency is only a half measure because you can only at that point, try and put it on your Amazon only inventory, but you run into the issue then of transparency revoking access because you're not putting on all units across the board. So hit or miss, really. Would you advise negating keywords from harvesting campaigns after creating new campaigns with them? Or would you prefer to leave them until the new campaigns start to perform and then decide whether to negate them or not at all? So you're asking me the question of, would I like to do the work of harvesting a lot of keywords, putting them into campaigns, and then immediately negating them before they do anything whatsoever? Or would I like to negate them after I see whether or not it's a good or a bad keyword? Not being me. You need to see if a keyword can perform first and foremost. Now, that being said, harvesting campaigns, if you see a keyword is abysmal, which I think is what you're actually asking, if you see it's really bad from a harvesting campaign, yeah, don't be afraid to negate bad keywords. Graham, some of you don't know the dumbest question. Graham, come on. Every question, I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to reply to this. Graham, I appreciate you trying to respect my time, trying to appreciate all of this. I absolutely respect or appreciate you putting this out here. That being said, remember, every single person started in a different place. Every single seller is not the same. Every single seller is not an expert, right? And every single person doesn't understand things, right? And a lot of people need to know even basic information. It's part of the reason I do these every single week. I love helping people in the Amazon community learn as much as I possibly can. So with that being said, yes, are some questions extremely base level, extremely easy for people to understand and maybe even try and figure out, and they really could do some YouTube research or Google research and probably figure it out on their own, maybe. But at the end of the day, I'm fine with answering anything that I can. So as much as I do appreciate you, Graham, for trying to respect my time and getting others too, I am happy to answer any and all questions. Almost any and all questions, I will say. All right, let's see. We got a star in here. BellTube, $5 dono. Thank you. They've a sale price below FBA cost. Loss leader, I guess, very hard to keep up when PPC to get any impressions has escalated in our category by 50%. Yeah, there's not anything you can do against that. If someone is willing to literally lose money on a listing, there's not anything you can do to stop them. Unfortunately, it's just the name of the game, I suppose. Some people will just have a larger pocket to be able to lose money like that. And, it is what it is. Let's see here. Daniel, catch-all auto campaign. You suggested adding all products in one campaign. Shouldn't each product have a separate low bid catch-all auto campaign? It would not be a catch-all campaign if you did not include every single product. So that is the purpose of it. Again, you look at an auto catch-all campaign as casting the widest of wide nets. I have set up an auto catch-all campaign on a client that has 1,500 different products. I haven't gone past that because I haven't had the chance to do that on any other accounts. But yes, it works wonders. The more products you have, actually, the more you have, the even better it works overall. So yeah, go ahead. Every single product in there, Daniel. Seems like conversions and positions dropped after the holiday. Maybe everyone's offering huge discounts now or something. No, sales just dropped. It's the biggest thing. People don't purchase in January. It's the lowest sales month a year on Amazon. Some of my products, the ASIN and FN SKU is the same. When I print the label, the ASIN is below the barcode. That's so the ASIN will show below the barcode if you have manufacturer barcode. So you just said below the barcode. So the ASIN itself is part of the barcode. So that barcode is not the ASIN. The ASIN is just showing up there with the barcode. It's not showing as the FN SKU, and it's not the same thing. It sounds like it's Amazon barcoding is what you're doing rather than FN SKU barcoding. If I'm the FBA and FBM seller on my listing, will it prevent me from editing the FBA listing? No. Thanks. No problem. Can I use competitor's brand name in backend search terms? Yeah. Or no, sorry. In backend, I mean, you can, but how do I answer this? It is against Amazon's policy to use competitor's brand name. Front end, back end, doesn't matter. But here's the big but. You can do it for a short while. It's just a matter of how long you can get away with it. Do I suggest it? No. I have 1 to 1.5K launch budget. I have a few AD campaigns and 9 targeting broad, phrase, and exact low rating products in my category and some target ASINs. Each campaign has 5 keywords. Along with few sponsored campaigns, what do you think of my launch strategy? I think that's a decent launch strategy. Did you say you have some competitor campaigns in there? Ad campaigns, 9 targeting broad, phrase, and exact. Make sure you're not targeting too much broad. I wouldn't do more than 1 broad campaign, Brandon. Focus more on phrase and exact there. I didn't see low rating products in my category and some target ASINs. I like that. This is each campaign is about 5. Brandon, you're following every single rule that I have set up and talked about on this live Q&A every single week for the last year and a half or whatever. This is great. Great strategy. Come back to me. Let me know how it does. I love this kind of launch strategy. You're essentially following exactly what I'm always preaching for. So love it. Our FBA and AWD storage fees seem incredibly high to me personally. If we decrease stock, will this affect our rankings? Any recommendation? So no, it doesn't decrease ranking, or stock doesn't affect ranking. The only thing that, unless you stock out, I should say. If you stock out, yes, it affects your ranking. But regular stock at the end of the day, low stock, anything like that, no, that doesn't affect ranking. But, you obviously have to think the idea of stocking out and your listing going down, and that will affect it. But your stock level, no, doesn't affect it. How to see if your SEO is good. Use Helium 10, put your ASIN into Cerebro. Is your SEO good or bad? It's much more advanced than that, but that's the essential thing. Go look at Cerebro. Look up Helium 10 Cerebro on YouTube. They have 1,000,001 different things from Helium 10 to look through it. It'll help you out. We have negative reviews for counterfeit previously sold by a hijacker. Now that this seller is gone, is there a way to have these reviews removed? I've tried submitting tickets, but without success. Unfortunately, not really easily. Tickets is going to be your primary way to go here. The only thing at the end of the day is, is Amazon actually going to help you with removing those? If you can line up the review to a specific order, they can try and remove it, but a lot of times not really. It's not going to be feasible. You just kind of have to really hope that you can recover from it with positive reviews and keep reporting the reviews that you know are negative. Following my question about hijackers, they sell our own products, real and original products sourcing from distributors. We can't prove it as counterfeit. Now, what to do? If they're selling a real product, you cannot do anything. Transparency is your only option to get people to stop selling the product. But again, you would want to label pretty much only your Amazon inventory, and then the rest of the inventory that you send to distributors or anywhere else, you don't label with transparency codes, but transparency is the only option here realistically. Can you explain gold panning for keywords? Yeah, you set up campaigns that are essentially low budget, low bid. You put a bunch of different keywords into them for exact phrase, things like that, and you're gold panning for keywords. You can also do this with auto campaigns where Amazon picks out keywords. You're essentially looking for any keywords that are going to be kind of low target and get you good sales volume and get a decent ACoS. And you're just doing that on a broad scale. I'm working on it. Ooh, it's going to be my last. Okay, I guess we only have 2 questions left. Fantastic, because I got to get going here, guys. But I'm working on an account in EU that has hundreds of references in the category home lighting. Okay. The conversion of the category is at most 5%. Any advice on how to increase sales in this type of account? Hundreds of references in the category. I assume you mean products in the category home lighting. Yeah, the best way to increase sales for something like this is get brand recognition within the category, right? So run sponsored brand campaigns, make sure you're really keeping up with your customer base. So do things like brand tailored promotions that are going to help with that aspect of things, and really focus on keeping up your overall market share by going after competitor targeting. That's going to be kind of the base level way that you're going to be able to, at least get something out of this. But the hundreds of products as well, try and just see if you can get your average order volume up by getting things like virtual bundles together. That'll help you a ton. Brandon, thank you. Will do. Yeah, keep us updated, Brandon. We'd love to hear how that launch strategy goes. And then finally, can I sell a product on Amazon US whose box is in Spanish? Does it have to be in English? No, it does not. You can have your box be whatever you want, but people might have a hard time reading it. All right, everybody, that is it for today. Before we go, just so everyone is aware, for those that don't know, my name is Noah Wickham. I'm sales director here at My Amazon Guy, that sign right there. We are a full-service Amazon marketing agency. We do everything at A to Z on Amazon. We have 1,000,001 services that you can check out here. If you have anything such as listing reinstatement, which we were talking about today, account suspension, anything like that, let us know. We're always happy to help. Reach out to us. We do live coaching as well, one-on-one sessions. You can get a coaching call with me if you want, as well as sell all of our SOPs. And we're also hiring. So if you're always, we hire people with 0 experience or next to no experience, and are always happy to train people up. So hope everyone has a fantastic weekend and a fantastic week ahead. I will be back again next week, 12 p.m. Eastern, right here to answer any and all of your e-commerce related questions. Thank you, everybody.